Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a video covering the 3 tier 10 tanks that are currently available for free XP or for a discounted gold price. Those 3 tanks are what you can see on your screen: the T95E6, the Obj 268 version 5 and the 114 SP2. All 3 of those tanks will set you back either 19,125 gold or 382,500 free XP. It'll set you back one of those 2 costs and you can pick up any of those 3 vehicles for that. I would always recommend using free XP, not gold, to pick up these vehicles, as you can maximize and make your own discount with the free XP that you've earned by just playing the game. But as always, if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And talking about subscribing, thank you so much if you haven't guessed by the title. Thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. We hit 10,000 subscribers the other day, and thank you so much for that. It means a hell of a lot to have reached that massive milestone. 10,000. I never thought when I started this channel I would hit 10,000 subscribers. It's absolutely mental to me that you guys sit and listen to a prat on the internet whittle on about some pixel tanks, eh? So thank you so much to everybody for just tuning in, for watching, for commenting, for liking, subscribing, and even to those of you that dislike the videos as well, because it does help the channel a lot, and it gives you that little sense of, okay, what am I doing wrong on these videos, especially those that obviously post comments as well, asking to change little bits and bobs and stuff like that. It's always very helpful, always very much appreciated. Thank you to everybody for all your kind words, and thank you so much for subscribing and watching us on this channel here. It's been a crazy, 5 years nearly? It's going to be 5 years come April, because I started this channel back during the pandemic and during lockdowns, right? Because back then I was playing this game a hell of a lot, bored, off work because lockdown, and just started this channel, and who knew 4 or 5 years later we'd be here with 10,000 subscribers. Mental. And to celebrate that fact, we're going to do a giveaway here on this channel in the comments down below. We're going to give away the Italian Tier 8 Premium Tank Destroyer, the Vipera, or the Mercenary Era 2 Tank Destroyer, the Rock Crawler. So what I want you to do is down below, either put the word Vipera or put Crawler in your comment, and that will enter you for either of those giveaways, and then leave your gamertag and console alongside those as well. So what you need to do down below is literally put Vipera or Crawler, and you'll be entered into those giveaways. Now, if you don't want the World War II tank, don't put Vipera, just put Crawler. Or if you want the Rock Crawler and you don't really want to be entered for the Vipera, just put Crawler, and you'll be entered in for the Rock Crawler giveaway as well. If you want to have a chance of winning either of them, then put both. You can enter for both tanks if you want them, and you'll have a chance to win one of those 2 lovely little tank coups to play, you know? And I'm going to leave a description down below. I'm going to leave in the description down below exactly what you have to do to enter this giveaway, so there's no ifs or buts. I'm going to write the 2 words of what you want to put in your comment, so you can copy and paste it if you need to, or you can see exactly what I'm going to use as a way of picking out the winner for this giveaway. And I hope the whole point of this giveaway was to give the opportunity for people who play Cold War to possibly win a tank that they want, or for people to play who only play World War II to pick up a tank that they might want to play as well. So yeah, thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. It is, yeah, mental to me. So thank you so much for that, everybody. But without further ado, I've whittled on for too long. Again, I digress, always. The tanks at hand. Let's start with the T95E6 American Tier 10 Premium Medium Tank. Here it is, T95E6. It is a great looker of a tank. I do love the look of the E6. So, what do I run in terms of a crew on the old T95E6? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Snapshot, Silent Driving. Camouflage Expertise and Silent Driving to get the nice camo and keep the concealment down while on the move by 55%, so that I can get from place to place quite easily without getting spotted, and the camo on this vehicle is very, very nice. All 3 gun perks to make the best out of the gun handling as I can, because the gun handling can be a little bit derpy at times, but generally the accuracy during movement and rotation is really good even without gun stabilizer. So I don't run the gun stabilizer on this vehicle, and I run all 3 gun perks to compensate for that fact. And then in terms of the equipment, I do run the advanced loader, the camo net, and the optics. Optics to be able to get that 525 meters of view range that you see right there, so I can outspot targets at great distances. If you wanted to and you wanted to maximize your DPM, you could quite happily put vents on instead, and as you'll see, you still have 488 meters of view range, which is fantastic, but your DPM increases even more, and everything about the accuracy of the tank gets even better. But I'm just a nugget. I like to increase my view range to absolute overkill maximum so that I can get increased chance of doing great spotting damage in this vehicle. The advanced concealment to get that 275 meters of still concealment, which is very nice for the T95E6, and the advanced loader to get the best out of the DPM on this tank, which is absolutely fabulous. This tank is a very good tier 10 medium tank. Very good indeed, and I can't believe it's had as many buffs as it's had in the past, as well as getting buffed up to 420 alpha as well, which is quite nice for it. So let's have a quick look at the modules as we go along as well. That's where the engine block of the tank is. Got a 15% internal fire chance, which is in the middle of fire chances for the T95E6, which means it does get on fire if it hits the engine, but to be honest, when I played this vehicle, it doesn't happen too much, realistically. And that's where the ammo is in the T95E6 as well. If you hit it in that front end, there's a likelihood your ammo rack is going to get damaged, especially if it gets shot through either the left or right drive wheel. It's quite likely that your ammo rack will get damaged, and that is where the crew sits in the T95E6. So let's have a look at the statistics of the T95E6 while it's fully kitted out. As you can see, you've got a 56 km/h top speed and a 20 km/h reverse speed. The mobility of this tank is very nice. If you wanted to make it better, you could quite easily hit over 60 with the traction system, and you would get there. 20 km/h reverse speed is also fantastic. 750 horsepower engine is 18.33 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning you will get up to that top speed exceptionally easily. 50 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means this tank does turn superbly quickly as well. It turns on a sixpence grate. Terrain resistances do not hold this tank back whatsoever with its top speed. 275 meters of still concealment is very nice for this tier 10 medium tank. Mixed in with 285 meters of on the move concealment means you can stay very stealthy in this tank, and especially since you've got such good DPM, you can farm up without getting spotted quite easily. 525 meters of view range, is very nice as well. Absolutely overkill. You do not really need it to go that high, but I love it because it means I just spot people at stupid distances, even the super stealthy vehicles, and that means that I get some nice spotting, essentially. And the thing is, view range in this game is capped at 445, so you will only spot people up until 445 meters away. But for every meter of view range over 445, you devalue people's camo. And that's why I like having that supreme view range, because even the super stealthy tanks sometimes struggle to stay unspotted from the T95E6. You got 45.61 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which means it is slower than the tracks. So bear that in mind. It can be a bit frustrating in that regard, which is one of the reasons that I'm not a big fan of putting the traction system on to go even faster, because it will give you 55 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which is so much faster than the turret, and it can be a little bit frustrating for me in that regard, because I'm not always the biggest fan of tanks that have turrets that turn way slower than the tracks. 0.53 accuracy during rotation is fantastic, with 1.54 accuracy during movement, which is also good, and for saying those two statistics together would be very good for a tank with the gun stabilizer on. This tank is not running the gun stabilizer, and it's got those numbers, which is very nice for the T95E6. It really means you don't really have to run it. You've got 0.26 accuracy at 100 meters, which is very accurate. This gun is very nice these days. It used to be very derpy, but since all the buffs and the changes and stuff, it's definitely a lot better. And especially since 6.0 as well, the gun just felt supremely accurate like most other tanks do. You've also got 1.75 second aim time as well, which is great. And this means that tank aims in supremely quickly. And even if your aim circle does bloom out a little bit, your gun is just ready to go instantly, and it's great for that. You've got 9 degrees of gun depression, which means you're extremely flexible on a ridgeline. And I'm going to say that word again. That's great. This tank is wonderful. It is a very good tank. And to be honest, I always feel like the T95E6 is probably one of those medium tanks that is a little bit too good, generally, at tier 10, and has definitely been overbuffed over time, realistically. And 9 degrees of gun depression means you are super flexible on a ridgeline. You can use your turret armor, which is okay. It's not great turret armor, it's just okay, to bounce shots off of your turret, and then just dish out the hurt with this fantastic 120mm gun. Because you do have a 6.05 second reload, which is 4.1k DPM, which is just absolutely incredible. Means you absolutely farm up with this tank so easily. When you go against this thing, it's incredible how fast your hit points disappear when you play against it. 258mm of penetration on the standard AP is really nice, with 340 penetration on the premium heat rounds, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely butchers everything you're going to face, so you don't really worry about penetration too badly. With 60mm of penetration on the standard HE rounds, which give you 530 alpha. This tank used to have 390 or 400 alpha. I think it's 400 alpha it used to have. And with the recent changes to the American 120s, it actually got buffed up to 420 alpha, which is, again, just really nice. And it gives you that little bit extra oomph in your shots, which can be fairly noticeable, especially with the rolls that you get in this tank. And you've got 1,067 meters a second shell velocity, which is just slightly above average. It means you still have to give a decent amount of lead with this tank to be able to hit your shots at distance. And compared to a lot of other tier 10 mediums that have all got APCR as standard, 1,400 meters a second shell velocity, you do have to give a lot more lead with your shots and make sure you're aiming your shots properly to make sure these shells are going to hit the targets. As it is a tier 10 medium tank, premium, that is, as it is a tier 10 premium, you don't particularly have the greatest premium bonuses, which means if you want this tank for the ability to make more silver or have better crew XP and stuff like that, it doesn't really get that. But the T95E6 is honestly an absolutely fantastic tank. It is one of the better tier 10 medium tanks quite easily, as the gun handling's supreme, the mobility's good, the armor's good enough that you don't really want to rely on it that much, but you can get some good bounces off it. The camo's fantastic, and you've just got that unbelievable DPM as well, which just makes the whole package of a tank absolutely fantastic. And this tank is always worth a pickup if you don't own it. Always, 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 with something like free XP. Because I would never recommend spending 19,000 gold on this game, to be fair. 19,000 gold is way too expensive. But for free XP, like I say, where you can manufacture your own discount, that is always a nice thing to do for a tier 10 tank or a tier 9 tank. So without further ado, what I'm going to do now is send you into the replay for the T95E6, where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and just get a general feel for the vehicle. So enjoy the replay. So here we are in the replay with the T95E6. This game in this tank, we are on this map, which is Vineyards. And on Vineyards, what I'm going to do is push aggressively along the JK line, because I can go hull down at K4, K5. I can shoot people that go sit in the Abbey at H4. I can also shoot the people that sit on the little ridge lines at K2 and J2 as well. And this is something that you can always do, and that is spot people as you cross towards here that sit in the Abbey. You can try and get a little snapshot into them as you move across. So we go for the RBRT onto the T95E6. No gun stabilizers, people. There is no gun stabilizers on this tank, and this tank can do stuff like that as well. 5.5 second reload with a food boost. DPM on this vehicle is just insane. And having that 420 alpha now as well, you just feel so much more impactful as well. It really, really does feel like it hits just that little bit nicer and that little bit harder, which is very nice with the T95E6. So we're up to 1,200 damage with 278 assistance, make that 1,738 damage, as we managed to take most of the hit points of the opposition T95E6 there. But we do finally take a hit from the 257, I think it was, slinging heat as he came over the top of the ridgeline. So I decided, okay, not going to keep doing that. What we're going to do instead is go see if there's anything sitting over here, because there's usually something sitting over there coming towards you at on the K line, and they do like to poke round and shoot you in the side. So you've got to be careful of that, which is why I came over to just investigate and see what was going off. But we don't find anything. So the 257 pokes over. I'm just looking for a shot. I was hoping he'd give me a little bit more there of his lower plate, but he didn't. I didn't realise he'd quite get the gun depression to hit me, but it's fine. He ends up bouncing the heat round anyway. And we went straight through his upper plate because it just wasn't that well angled. We did get lucky that the heat round didn't go through, but then that's the armour of the T95E6. Like I say, it's not something you truly want to rely on, because if you try and rely on it in the T95E6, it'll go badly. But it can get you out of dodge at times with those kinds of shots hitting you and not penning. So we get a nice shot there into the 257 upper plate. The 60 TP is behind. We've got to be careful of that guy. I don't really want to take a big hit from a 60 TP, that will hurt. But if we can help my 705A out and get rid of the 257, that would be good. I'm also keeping my eye on that Death Star. I do want to get rid of the Death Star and help my heavy tank out if I can, but I can't do it at the minute because the 60 TP is currently looking this way, and he would hurt me. The 257 pokes out, he misses, I snap the shot through his upper plate, gun handling is perfect, 60 TP is pulled back, so we're going to use the opportunity to get over, shut down the Death Star, and help my friend out there. We're up to 2.9k damage with 278 assistance. We go for the shot into the side of the Conqueror's turret, but sadly, that shot just ended up hitting the back end and not going through. I look at the Conqueror and I think, I'm not going to do that. He's a perfectly hull down Conqueror. That's going to be a difficult tank to pen. If I fired heat, there's a likelihood I could go through the turret ring, but I just don't want to chance it. And sadly for me, the artillery also then slaps in a shell, leaving us on 40, even 42 hit points. But I'm going to turn around and see what this 705A is doing again. It's just changing up the angle, because if you keep poking up in the same spot, obviously you make it very easy for the enemy vehicles to know exactly what you're doing, where you are, and a way to counter you. So as we poke around the corner, we see the M48A2 120mm. We put a shot straight through the turret front because that tank's not great hull down. Go for the cupola, but sadly, the 120mm doesn't quite come up like he was looking like it was going to and give us that shot. The PTA YOLO's in though, so I'm thinking, okay, that M48A2 is definitely dead. Let's see if we can get a shot at the Conqueror. We see the shot into the side of the Conqueror there, which is nice, but the 60 TP is coming in. I'm like, oh boy, that's not good. But we go for the tracking shot. We track and pen him, but sadly, he's firing heat, and he does go straight through the turret front there. In fact, he goes through just next to the cupola there with the heat round. And I'm looking at that 60 TP, and the fact that I've got no friends here anymore. That 60 TP will easily come and kill us, and there's not much I'll do about it. I'll get one shot into him and I'll die. So there's no point staying here anymore. I may as well run away, relocate, and see if I can affect the battle in a different area. The artillery has been killed because my team has progressed towards their base. The T100LT finished the 53-55, and it's all about just getting out of here as quickly as possible before the 60 TP ends up closing the distance. But with where my team are now, I could actually, once I get to the train tracks, get myself down the train tracks and try and get into a better position to shoot these guys. Seeing as we're on 4.1k damage, we want to have a little bit nicer game, because at the minute we're on a fairly decently averagely good game for a tier 10 medium tank, and you know, we're always wanting to push it and make it better. So I'm just trying to give myself an angle here at possibly the 4005, but also making it as difficult as possible for them to be able to spot me by just gaining a little bit of distance here. And the 4005 and the M48 120mm are spotted. 4005 gets killed, but I know that I can go and shut down the M48 120mm if I just get a shot through the gap of the bridge there. And we do manage to shut down the M48 120mm. That's the camo, because he does have good view range, but the camo is lovely in this tank, and because I was shooting through concealment, he just never spotted me even though I killed him, which means the Conqueror has no idea where I'm coming from. But sadly, for me, that is, and for the Conqueror really, the 4005 shows him the meaning of 183mm of pain, which is what you can get if you participate in the giveaway with the rock crawler. Just hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you know. Who doesn't love 183mm of pain? Well, okay, that Conqueror didn't appreciate 183mm of pain, but there we go. We put a shot through the lower plate of the 60 TP. He fires at the Centauro, so I know I can aim up the shot at his lower plate and ricochet. Okay, sure, thanks game. I know again, I've got a better reload. I aim for the lower plate. That one, he sort of made a weird wiggle of his armor there and actually hit the upper plate and bounced. But we get the side of the 60 TP this time, and we finish him off. We got really unlucky with RNG there that we bounced twice off his lower plate, well, his upper plate, lower plate, whatever, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. We finished the game with the 4.8k damage, 4 kills, 1434 base XP, fairly average game, or fairly averagely good game there for the T95E6 with the second class. And that's the T95E6. It is a very nice American tier 10 medium tank that you can pick up for free XP. So here we are now with the next tank that you can get for free XP. It is the 268 version 5, a tank that was released back in the dark days of the early 6.0 during the Action Heroes Season Pass. And it's a tank destroyer that is a pretty damn nice tank destroyer, because armor-wise, you don't particularly want to rely on the armor of the 268 version 5, but it's got enough that, again, kind of like the E6, can just give you a little bit of leeway. where you can get some nice ricochets off of it. But again, because it's the T10 hull, which isn't the best armoured in the universe, you don't want to just sit there going, ha, I'm an armoured tank destroyer, I'm going to bounce everything, because it's not going to work out like that. But you can slap out massive rounds with this 152mm gun. The mobility on it is pretty nice. A bit sluggish, but nice overall. The camo is fantastic. And yeah, it just hits like a truck. The penetration is also great as well. So you can play that playstyle that goes in between being a more aggressive tank destroyer to being that further back tank destroying sniper that you can use and abuse the camo from. But the gun handling is a little bit derpy, so trying to use it at range sometimes can be absolute pain. But on the whole, the 268 version 5 is also another solid pickup. It is a very, very good tank destroyer. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, in terms of the crew on the 268 version 5, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, 6th Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snap, Shot and Run and Gun, with Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot. All 3 gun perks because this gun is derpy. It is very derpy. You want to help the gun out as much as humanly possible because otherwise it loves a good miss. And even helping it out, it still loves a good miss. The Camouflage Expertise to make the best out of the camo, and the Muffled Shot to reduce the effect of firing by 35% towards your camo as well, which helps you try and stay unspotted a bit more with the Tank Destroyer camo that this vehicle gets. And then in terms of a crew, in terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, Optics, and the Camo Net. The Advanced Loader to get the best out of the reload, get the best DPM I can get on this 268 version 5, with Optics to give me that 499 meters of view range, and the Camo Net to give me that fantastic 250 meters of still concealment, which you can use and abuse very, very well. You can stay unspotted in so many locations in this tank that it is super duper nice for slapping out these big 850 alpha rounds that a lot of tank destroyers have. Let's have a look at the modules of the 268 version 5. And as you can see, that's where the engine blocks are on this tank. It has a 15% internal fire chance, which is in the middle of the fire chances for this game. But it's Soviet, so it gets set on fire all the time. So be very, very careful of that. It does like burning. The ammo racks are there. And again, 268 version 5, look where those ammo racks are. They are big, they are chunky. This thing gets ammo racked a lot. Big caliber guns will hit you there. They will probably detonate your ammo rack. And it does love having a damaged ammo rack. So that can be pain. But thankfully we've got reusable repair kits, which means if your ammo rack gets damaged, you can just put it back in. But it's something you just got to be wary of when you are playing this tank. And if you're playing against it, that's where you want to aim to try and damage its ammo rack. And that is where the crew sits in the 268 version 5. So let's have a look at the statistics of the 268 version 5. So as you can see, you got 48 km/h top speed and a 15 km/h reverse speed. 750 horsepower engine, which is 15 horsepower per ton ratio. You do get to the 48 km/h top speed, but it is a little bit sluggish to get there. It's not the most agile tank in the universe, but 48 km an hour for this kind of tank is still pretty nice. You've got 30 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which is a little bit slow. It does turn to the left and the right a little bit slow in the 268 version 5, which helps with that sluggish feeling that the mobility has on this vehicle. So it's just something you've got to be a little bit careful of, right? It just feels that little bit sluggish. Ground resistances that don't actually hold the tank back whatsoever. They are very good ground resistances. 250 meters of still concealment is very, very nice. But you've got 298 meters on the move concealment. So there's one thing you might consider with the version 5 is dropping muffled shot and running silent driving instead to get that on the move concealment as close as possible to that 250. But 298 is still a nice camo in general, and I just kind of prefer being able to reduce the effect of firing on my camo with muffled shot. 499 meters of view range means that this tank can spot for itself very, very easily as well. And mixed with the very good concealment this tank has, you can spot people way, way further away than they can see you, which you can use as an asset to dish out the damage. You've got a 23.89 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which is slower than the tracks, and that's very typical as it is a turret to tank destroyer. A lot of turret to tank destroyers do have way slower turret traverse than track traverse. But it's something to bear in mind that your turret does turn very, very slowly. You might want to help that out with rapid aim if it does annoy you. You've got 1.21 accuracy during rotation, which is not that good, with 2.3 accuracy during movement, which for a turret to tank destroyer actually isn't too horrific. Most tank destroyers generally have a way worse accuracy during movements. That's not horrendous for the 268 version 5, but still, as a combo, it's not very good, and it means the aim circle does become rather large. You've got 0.29 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which is fairly accurate, but the gun still loves a good miss. It's one of those guns that says, hey, I'm a little bit accurate, but still just goes, ha, I'm going to hit the floor. And you sit there going, oh, okay, thanks, RNG. Right, it's one of those. 5 degrees of gun depression means it can be a bit awkward, especially on ridge lines. It's one of those things that you have to really know the positions to put yourself in with 5 degrees of gun depression to get the most out of this vehicle. 5 degrees of gun depression can be pretty awkward. 13.49 second reload, which is 3.7k DPM, is really quite nice for 850 alpha, to be fair. 3.7k DPM is good, with 303 penetration on the standard AP, 395 penetration on the premium heat rounds, and 90 penetration on the standard HE rounds, with 850 alpha on the standard, 1100 alpha on the HE. The HE is a very, very nice asset, by the way. You can use that against things like 4005s and really slap them up. And anything that's lightly armoured as well, you can do a lot of damage with that round. You do have 760 meters a second shell velocity as well on all 3 rounds, which is way below average, and that helps the gun feel exceptionally derpy. You have to give a lot of lead to be able to hit shots in this tank. And it's one of those guns that, because you've got a 2.58 second aim time, and it takes a while for the gun to get aimed in, that you don't always have the best of faith that you're going to hit the shots you're aiming. So you always overcompensate with making sure that you're fully aimed, you've got the best lead you can get, and you're going to hit the target. This gun can feel really derpy, and a lot of that is because this shell velocity is so slow. But yeah, that's the 268 version 5. It's not really getting any bonuses, just like every other tier 10 premium, except for the Vigilante. The 268 version 5 is a very, very nice tank destroyer. Like I say, it's got that ability to play either that stealthy, further back tank destroyer, or play it just a little bit closer up close and personal. And because the gun is so derpy, a lot of the time it does want to be a bit closer so it can make sure that those shells are going to hit. But you can pick that up for the free XP or for gold. Like I say, it's 382,500 free XP, and that is always a nice pickup as well for a tier 10 tank. So what I'm going to do now is send you into the replay where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and just see if it's a bit of you again. So as always, enjoy the replay. So here we are in the replays with the Object 268 version 5, and this game we are on Fisherman's Bay, which is quite a nice game, or map I should say, realistically, for the Object 268 version 5. There's lots of good positions to take in terms of bushes where we can stay unspotted, slap rounds out down the lines of movement for the enemy vehicles, and we can try and flex into different places quite easily to be able to help out each flank. So I'm going to go to this position here at E6 because, as I've always said in most of my videos, it is a very nice starter location, especially for a tank like the 268 version 5, where I can shoot people like that 4005 as they cross the open, get nice shots, and especially if you've got a tank with good camo like this, you can stay unspotted. So we're going to fire here at the E5, pen the E5 for 922. We'll take that. Sadly, Mr. Space Pope in his Manticore ends up spotting us up there, which means that we get slapped by the 4005. Oh, RNG though, as that shot flies true into the little machine gun port on top of the Jagdpanzer, putting us on 1701 damage. Now, with standard 303 PEM, we can actually go through the superstructure of a Jagdpanzer E100, just not always guaranteed. If we fire the heat rounds every time. But we went for the cupola there, we missed, and sadly we didn't get the pen on the Jagdpanzer, hoping the Manticore doesn't come back and try and spot us, because we don't really want to take another 1,000 hit. Well, we can't take another 1,000 hit, right? We're going to die if we do that. So I'm just watching the other side of the rocks. I was hoping that the Jagdpanzer might try and run away, but we can only just see the outside of his tank. So I'm going to keep aiming at it. Why? Because maybe it'll freak him out and make him move into a position where I can get a better shot at him. But I'm just keeping an eye on him, because maybe he'll wiggle into a situation where I can actually pen it, but he's not quite doing that. We see the side of the 268, sorry, the IS-7 with the 268 version 5. We'll get there in the end. And we went for a shot into the side, and we did track damage. Well, we blew his tracks off only, which is just a sad time. But he gets tracked in the open, fully aimed this time, and we finish off that IS-7. That's what I'm talking about with the gun handling on this tank, where sometimes it's a dead cert shot, and there's no dead certs in this game, and it just did track damage only to his side. Oh, we've got a side shot on the Jagdpanzer though, 738, through the side of the Jagdpanzer. But that's what I'm talking about with the gun, though, with that shot on the IS-7, is that it's the type of gun where you don't have 100% faith and confidence it's going to hit the shots. And shots where you're thinking that's an easy shot for you to hit there, nearly fully aimed on the side of an IS-7, yeah, you're going to pen that, and it goes, you know what, no, I'm not feeling it. And it just misses, and you go, sure, fine, right? So we go for the shot into the side of the 705A's turret. Sadly, it bounces. I thought 303mm of penetration might actually help me go through that guy there, but sadly not. So we're just going to keep an eye on the 705s, see if they actually give us a shot. One's driving up sideways on, so we're just going to see if we can get the shot into the side of his turret. But we get spotted, and I'm not confident I want to stick around in case that Tyran puts a shot in. But we do finally get the shot into the side of the 705A's turret for 858, and the E5 shuts him down. And we really are just watching for the Tyran to get spotted, and that 705A, as it'd be nice to get rid of those guys. So we poke up on top of the ridgeline, aim for the lower plate of the Moisture, but the Moisture ends up getting finished off by the Griller. The Tyran pokes up. We try and snap the shot at the Tyran. Sadly, it misses because, well, it was a snapshot. It was never aimed well enough. It was never truly going to go through that guy there. So we're hoping for the 705A to actually fire at this E5. The E5 is doing quite a good job of trying to spot and trying to bait the shells right and try and spot them. But sadly, the 705A is not playing ball. He's going, no bueno, sir. I know, shoot up and get spotted. But the E4 pokes up. So we put a lovely shot for 841. Oh, my goodness me. That E4 was like, I'm alive, dead. That was the E4's life. He was like, I'm alive. Oh, no. Yeah. Been there, done that. Where you poke up, you think everything's fine, hunky-dory, and just death. Yeah, I've been there, done that. It's a painful experience. We're going to poke up, see if we can get a shot into the cupola of the Tortoise here. Finish off the Tortoise with a shot through the cupola, or the machine gun port, one of the two. It is both of those, really. Waiting for the reload. We can get a shot at the 705A or the Tyran, but sod's law dictates, just as we possibly get the shot at the 705A, he pulls back into a position where we can't find the shot at the 705A, and that makes me a very sad petty. Yeah, it does. It really does. So, the Tyran has pulled back, so I can't quite get a shot at him. The E5 has forced the 705A back into a situation where I don't feel like he's actually going to poke over and give me a shot. I'm keeping my eye on the mini-map in case of that Leopard, and I actually look to my left and go, oh, the Leopard's coming up. Can we get a cheeky shot into him? So we get up on top of the ridgeline, aim the shot in, finish off the Leopard 1. I was always keeping my eye on the map to see what that Leopard 1 was actually doing. And the light tank had actually baited him up into a position where I could get him. The Jagdpanzer's still behind that rock. The Tyran has actually come up on top of the ridgeline, so we're just going to aim the shot in, hopefully get through the side of his turret, and we shut down that Tyran there with a shot through the side of his turret. We're up to 5.6k damage with 1678 assistance damage, 4 kills, and there's only one tank left on the enemy team. It is that Jagdpanzer E100. So we're going to try and use our abilities to get into a position to shoot him. He keeps sort of moving though, to a point where I think, maybe he will give me a shot. But sadly, not. And I see the T100 LT where he is, and it's, yeah, curtains for that Jagdpanzer. But that's the 268 version 5. Finished the game with the victory. Third on the team with 4 kills, 5.6k damage, 1678 assistance, the first class with the 1440 base XP. Pretty nice game there for the 268 version 5, which is absolutely a fantastic pickup. It is a great tank. Honestly, it really is. And now we're on to the third and final tank that is available for free XP. It is the 114 SP2. It is a tank that a lot of people are probably going to have because it was in a season pass last year at some point, or the year before, one of the two. Can't quite remember. It was a wee while ago, but a lot of people picked up the 114 SP2, naturally, and so it's the tank that people are probably going to least regard in the fact that they're thinking, oh, which one should I pick up? But it's a pretty balanced tank destroyer, realistically. It's got a very nice penetration on the gun, 650 alpha generally, DPM that's pretty nice, camo that's very good, mediocre mobility, armor that's not very good at all, but pretty nice view range as well. What you want to be doing is using this as that support tank, slapping out the 650 alpha, using the supremely accurate gun that it has, and then using the fantastic camo that such a large beast has as well. The 114 SP2 is one that actually I didn't enjoy when I played it through the review. They buffed it, and they buffed it again, and since then, it is a pretty nice tank to play. Definitely enjoyed it since they buffed it. I always meant to make a video on the buffs they made, but I never got round to it. They just made some little changes to the handling and stuff like that, and a little bit extra DPM, and it's, like I say, a pretty nice tank in general. It's a pretty well-balanced tank destroyer at tier 10. So, what do I run in terms of equipment? Well, I run the Advanced Loader, the Optics, the Camo Net. Camo Net to have 262 meters of still concealment, which is fantastic. Optics to have that 499 meters of view range, and the Advanced Loader to get the best out of the reload, because it's something you really want to help on this tank. And then in terms of the crew, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. All 3 gun perks to get the best out of this gun, because it is a supremely accurate gun, and you really want to help it be that with all 3 gun perks. The Camouflage Expertise to make the best out of the camo and get it down to that 262 meters of still concealment. And because we are slow with that 45 kilometers an hour, well, it's not slow, it's just below average in terms of top speed. I run the Silent Driving to try and help the on-the-move concealment and keep it as low as possible, so when I'm crossing gaps, I'm less likely to get spotted, and it's less likely to affect my camo too badly. But yeah, that's why I run the crew, and that's what I run on the equipment. Let's have a quick look at the modules of the vehicle. As you can see, that's the whole engine block in the back. 15% internal fire chance yet again is in the middle ground, but this thing loves burning. It loves getting set on fire. That's where the engine is. That's where it's going to get set on fire. Bit of a problem for the 114 SP2 in that regard, that it does love getting set on fire. It also likes being ammo-racked, and you can see why. The ammo racks are rather large, they are rather big, and they're rather easy to hit. Shoot you in the back of the turret on the sides, quite easily damages your ammo rack. Shoot you anywhere in that middle section where the turret is, they're probably going to damage your ammo rack as well, which is always a bit of a pain, with the crew sat there in the turret of the 114 SP2. So here's the statistics of the old 114 SP2. You got a 45 km/h top speed with an 18 km/h reverse speed, 980 horsepower engine with 15.56 horsepower per ton ratio, which means your 18 km/h reverse speed is fantastic, and you will get up to 45 km/h. The horsepower per ton ratio is okay. It is a little bit sluggish getting up to the top speed, but you generally do hit it. And it is just a little bit slow in terms, it does feel that little bit slow in terms of this tank, in terms of the mobility, especially for a tank that's got pretty poor armor. You've got 30 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which is the same as the 268 version 5. It's just that little bit slow and helps that sluggish feeling on the mobility. Ground resistances, again, aren't too bad. They're all below 2, and it means that they don't really hold the tank back too badly. Medium terrain resistance isn't too great, though, but generally they're not that awful. 262 meters of still concealment with 276 meters of on-the-move concealment is, again, very, very nice. Helps this tank stay super duper stealthy, which is very nice for the 114 SP2. And 499 meters of view range, again, is fantastic. Helps you spot for yourself really efficiently and just be able to find the enemy vehicles quite nicely. 21.72 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is way slower than the tracks, and generally is very, very slow. It's something that you might want to help with rapid aim if it frustrates you. Very typical tank destroyer, turreted tank destroyer problem, that the turret is super duper slow. But yeah, it's one of those things you could help if you wanted to. 0.42 accuracy during rotation with 2.05 accuracy during movement is actually really not that bad at all. 0.42 accuracy during rotation is fantastic. 2.05 accuracy during movement isn't good, but it's also not bad. And as a combination, it means the aim circle on this tank doesn't actually bloom out that poorly. And the fact that you have 1.84 second aim time means that even if it does bloom out a bit, it aims in super quickly, and you are ready to shoot this gun almost instantly the moment you've stopped, which is always lovely for the 114 SP2. You've got 20 degrees of elevation, which is fine, which is great, to be fair. 7 degrees of depression is nice. It's not brilliant, but it's also not bad. It's in the mediocre section, which is okay for this tank. And it means you're not inflexible on a ridgeline like the 268 version 5. And you can use a ridgeline depending on the incline quite nicely for it. And you can reduce the amount of tank that people can see, which is quite good for the 114 SP2. You got 0.26 accuracy at 100 meters, which means this gun is superbly accurate as well. This gun is all this tank. This tank is all about the gun. It is a super duper gun. It is fantastic. I can't describe how nice this gun is. The accuracy is great. Shot velocity on the APCR is dirty. Well, it's not dirty, but it's nice, right? 1250. The DPM is good now, especially it's really nice now. Aim time's great. Generally, this gun is fantastic. And 10.14 second reload, which is 3.8, nearly 3.9k DPM. For 650 alpha is very nice on the 114 SP2. That's something that got buffed up. It used to be a lot lower. It used to actually be lower than most 850s. Now it's on par or better than a lot of those 850s, which is quite good for the 114 SP2. You've got 273 penetration on the standard AP round, with 329 penetration on the premium APCR rounds, and 90 penetration on the HE rounds. Meaning, again, a lot of lightly armoured tanks and artillery. You can pen with 90mm of pen quite easily, and you'll do 840 damage. 650 on the standard round for 273, which means you'll go through most tanks you're going to face with 273. And if you need to load the premium with 329, you're going to go through tanks with 329 pen quite easily too, which is lovely. You've got 1,050 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, with 1,250 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR, which means that your velocity on the APCR is very, very nice, and you're slightly above average in terms of your AP or your AP shell velocity. But you still have to give a decent amount of lead with the AP. Honestly, it's one of those things with this tank that loading APCR makes the gun feel even better, just because of that velocity you get off of that APCR, which is very nice indeed. And again, because it is a premium tank destroyer or a premium tier 10, you don't really have any bonuses. But yeah, the 114 SP2 is definitely a pretty nice tank to play. If you don't have it, it could be a nice pickup, although I do think the 268 version 5 is probably a better pickup. And I think the E6 is probably the best out of the three for a tier 10 pickup, because it is a fantastic tank. But if you own the 114 SP2 and you haven't taken it out for a while because you didn't think it was that great when it came out, the buffs and stuff have definitely made it just that little bit nicer to play, and it can be a very enjoyable tank. So it's worth giving it a go and seeing what it's like, generally. But what I'm going to do now is send you into the replay, where you can watch the third and final replay, see how this tank handles, and just get a general feel for it as well. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in that replay. So here we are in the third and final replay of this video. We're on the 114 SP2, and we're on this map, which is a map that's just in front of my face, Rosanai. And I played this replay, or played this game in the 114 SP2, not long after they'd actually buffed it. And like I say, I've been sat on this replay for God knows how long now. I always meant to go get another replay so I could do a video on the 114 SP2 to show off the tank after the buffs, because like I say, after the buffs, this tank is actually really quite nice. You've just seen a 9.9 second reload, which is a little bit quicker there than it says in the stats, but it is really nice in terms of just the camo's great, the gun handling is superb, DPM's good, the mobility is not good though, and the armor is shocking. They're the two bad points of the tank. But that's what makes this tank balanced, right? Is the fact that the gun handling and the DPM are really nice now, the penetration's great, you hit most of the shots you're ever going to want to hit, but its downsides are the fact that it's a little bit slow and sluggish to get into position, and if you are spotted, you're a big, easy hitbox for people to just slap up, which means you've really got to put yourself... You can't be too aggressive in this tank. You've got to put yourself in the right sort of situation, the right position, to be able to farm up with this vehicle. So, on Rosanai, we've come here to G4, so that we can shoot across the little open gap here, shoot people as they come up into the castle, and maybe get some easy damage, because there's usually people will crest up and try and push down the 2 line, and by doing that they give you just some nice easy side shots. And because we've got good camo, it's going to be difficult for them to spot us, and also we're going to be able to spot them because we've got nice view range at 499 meters of view range. So their team currently seems to be pushing up the 1 line quite aggressively. A lot of our team are here, which is good, so we should hopefully be able to stop them. But we're just going to watch for that heavy tank that got spotted. And in fact, the 279E is up, the same as the TS60. So we're just keeping an eye on it. And we see the sharpshooter. It's like, hello, Mr. Sharpshooter, are you coming this way? Okay, don't mind if I do. As we slap a shot for 609 into that sharpshooter. Was really hoping to track him there so that we might get another chance to pen him. But we're going to poke over, see if getting spotted has tempted the TS60 or the 279E to come and try and get a shot at us. but they're not realistically playing ball. Now we've realised that tanks have actually got in behind us. They've pushed into the position at K2, which is a bit of an awkward spot for us. And then there's a 114 SP2, so we get the RBRT into the 114 SP2 as we poke over the ridgeline. Because yet again, we don't really have to aim at a 114 SP2. We can pen that guy quite easily. The thing with the 114 SP2 is that it can sometimes troll you in the fact that you have some weird angles on this tank, like a bat chat, for example, where you've got no armour, but you have angles that if they catch a shot at you at a really extreme angle, you can ricochet shots. And ricocheting is something that it can do. But don't ever think, yes, I'm a tank destroyer that can bounce things, because it's just, yeah, no, it's not going to go well. So we've got the APCR in now, so we can go through that 279E with these, because AP, 273 pen, that might struggle to go through him, whereas if we fire APCR, yeah, we're going to go through a 279E quite easily. And that was camo, by the way, because we poked up all the way on top, went to get a shot at him, and he didn't see us until the light tank YOLO passed him, or past us, and that's where he spotted us. But that was the camo of the vehicle. We wait for the 279E to drive out sideways on. We put a shot into the side of the 279E for 605, but we've really got to be careful about what's going on behind us, because they are in a position that can quite easily start to farm us if we are not careful. So I'm just watching for the leopard to poke up. Unfortunate timing on that chieftain. We could have actually shut that guy down, but I'm watching the gap there because I'm thinking, can I get a cheeky shot over this little rock into the chieftain? Yes, I can. We'll take it. Didn't know I could do that, but we shut down the British Tier 10 heavy tank that is an absolutely fantastic vehicle. And I think, okay, what I want to do is get into a better position to assist my team against this IS-4, against this Leopard and this TS-60, because we've won the castle. So I don't really have to worry about my right-hand side anymore, because, yeah, well, my team's in the castle, so there's nothing going to be coming from our right. So let's see if we can get into a better position using these ridge lines to try and shoot the Leopard or the TS-60. Now, this is the gun. Number one, we're unspotted camo. Cupola of that guy. Pixel shot. Straight through the cupola of the TS-60. Because this gun is just fabulous. Looking for that cupola shot again. Straight through. Finish him off. This gun is beautiful. Honestly, it will hit pixel shots with ease, which is lovely for such a big gun in this 152mm caliber gun that this tank has. So we got shot by the TS-60. And there's a griller. Mr. Grill 50. Hello? Hello there? Where did that shot go? Okay. I thought I was going to pen that griller there, but we pen him blind. We'll take that one. That was, that's definitely a pat on the back, me. That was a beautiful shot into that griller there. We put a shot into the Marat, which keeps him tracked, and the 430U finishes him off. I fully thought, okay, that grill's going to come straight back up into that position where he was last spotted, because he was unspotted, and that's exactly what he did, and we finished him off. The Tusk pokes over. There's a TS-60 in front of us. With our penetration, we're going to go through these guys. Obviously, he's going to go through me with ease as well. We put a shot through his cupola, and while it's not a good time because he will take our hit points apart very quickly because he's got very good DPM, it's something you've got to be careful of in the fact that we also slapped them very hard. And because he got distracted there, he gave us his whole lower plate. We put a shot straight through the lower plate of the TS-60, finishing him off as well. We're up to 6.8k damage with 601 assistance, and I want to get a shot into this Sheridan if I can. So we come over the top, aim up at the Sheridan, put a shot for 680 straight through the side of that guy, leave it, well, basically getting him killed. There's the Tusk, who is spotted down in the little ditch at K7, and there's also a tank destroyer and a medium tank somewhere. So the Marat kills my 268. Absolutely no idea where that guy got killed from. But it's like, okay. There's still a TD somewhere, so I'm fully expecting him to be possibly up at F9. But we're spotted. And we're not detected. Which made me think maybe he wasn't here. But in fact, the Death Star was there. Unfortunately for me, he got spotted and we instantly couldn't get the shot at him because he pulled back into a place we couldn't get the shot into him. And sadly, that means we couldn't quite get the shot at the Death Star. But he pokes out again. We aim the shot in. Because we didn't wait for it to get fully aimed, the shot flies straight over his engine deck. And sadly, we didn't get to pen the Death Star. Marat gets spotted. We aim up the shot. Poor shot. That was a poor shot. We did not lead that well enough there. We just had to give a little... If we'd fired APCR there, we would have hit that Marat, because the APCR velocity would have given us that little extra speed to be able to hit it. But we pulled the trigger a second, or probably half a second too late. And that meant that the shot went behind the Marat instead of penning him. Poor shot. Might cost us later. But we know where the Marat is now. He was spotted going towards the castle. Death Star's been shut down by my team. So let's go and see if we can find the Marat. We've got to be careful, though, because, naturally, we're a 2-shot for the Marat, and the Marat has a 3-shot autoloader. So he ends up spotting us. He's going to the right-hand side of the castle while he's spotted. So now we know exactly where he is. We're going to go close him down. So he's spotted going up the 3 line. So in my brain right now, he's going to be running towards his cap. So I've always got to be wary of that right-hand side in case he's hiding on the corner at F3 and waiting for me to poke round so that he can just dump 2 shots in. Or we've got to keep our eye on that right-hand side in case he is full sending down towards the cap, to his cap, and he's just out of here because the Marat's quick enough to do it. So we're watching our right-hand side, and then he comes from the left. Disaster! And unfortunately for me, that's death. Why? Where did he came? He went round the castle and came back that way? Bad timing, absolutely bad timing, and sadly for me, that was the end of our game. But, fortunately enough for me though, the rest of my team is here to secure our victory as the 780. Give him the coup de grace, my friend. Give him, there we go, as he shuts down the Marat, and we finish the game with a really nice total there for the 114 SP2. And we finished top of the team, 3 kills, 7.5k damage, 601 assistance, ace tanker, high caliber Confederate, for that 1476 base XP, for what is a really nice tank in terms of the 114 SP2. So, like I say, guys, don't forget to enter that giveaway. Type either Vipera or Crawler in the comments with your gamertag and console, so that we can make sure you're entered for the giveaway, and you can win one of those 2 tanks. So thank you very much, everybody, for 10,000 subscribers. This is absolutely incredible. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!